So, I'm sleepy. I'm going to read some poems from Sierra DeMulder's book, The Bones Below. You can find it at writebloody.com if you want to buy it. This first poem is called At First Sight. When she stops kissing you with her mouth open, find the screwdriver. Buy a newly cut shank of beef. Leave so much blood in the kitchen she has to ask what happened. When she no longer calls you baby, hide all the silverware between the couch cushions. Send her there to sleep. If she does not complain, let the sinks in the bathroom overflow. Bake the wedding photos in the dryer. Stand in the middle of your flood. Call her name backwards, forwards. Wave your arms like your chest is a runway. She is the plane you are crashing. She does not reach for you. When she does not reach for you, pretend it is the first time you've met.
Woo! I don't get that at all.
It's like her describing meeting somebody for the first thing she thought of when she met this person at first sight.
Really?
I mean, she had a relationship with them afterwards, I would imagine, based on that poem, but this is one of my favorite poems by Sierra DeMulder. I'm so happy it's in this book. It's called Mrs. Dahmer. If you don't know who Jeffrey Dahmer is, you might not get this poem. Google it while I'm talking, if you need to. I caught you once, killing a squirrel in our backyard with a rock. Your 8-year-old body shivering, illuminated. Through tears, you told me you loved it. I assumed you meant the squirrel. Even after I watched the news, clips of a 10-gallon blue vat being carried out of your building, your refrigerator sealed with police tape, pictures of the boys you kissed too hard. Even after I heard what they found in your refrigerator, 2 human heads and a heart in your freezer, I could not bring myself to call you a monster. Your father told the reporters when I was pregnant with you, I experienced seizure-like fits, foaming at the mouth. My swollen body would stiffen and my eyes would peel back like paint as if I was trying to look at you. The day your apartment building was gutted and paved over, I began to obsess over your baby pictures, looking for anything that could predict the way you learned to love seeing things inside out. Your brother legally changed his last name from Dahmer, but I cannot erase the stretch marks. I see your eyes in my mirror. The scar where they pulled you like phosphone from my stomach. There is no reminiscing here. No one wants to hear how you were a wonderful child. They only want to watch your car crash of a life on repeat, your adolescent obsession with roadkill, how you would bike for miles with a garbage bag filled with whatever cadavers you found on the street. How could I possibly not see this coming, you say? Did I hold you too tightly when we crossed the street? Child, when your father and I fought at night, did you mistake it for lovemaking? Did I teach those fingers to pluck families apart like flower petals? I love you still. Darling, was it the sound of the dead dog's bones as your father dropped them one by one into the bucket that seduced you? Did it sound too much like your pulse? Was it the day I drove away from you, freshly graduated from high school, 2 months premature of your first murder? Did I put too many states between us? Did you put your own heart in the freezer next to the thought of me? Would Mary be forsaken if Jesus had not grown to be the son God had intended to father? If he did not wear a crown of thorns, but instead wrapped it around his knuckles? Will I be forgiven for the sins I did not commit, but created? When you were small, I told you you could grow up to be anything. I love that poem.
So messed up.
Right? Sometimes I can't read when I read too fast, and I lose words, so I apologize for that. Let's see. There's more poems in here that I want to talk. Oh, need to practice it or stuff. To my mother, Betty Broderick, on the morning after her parole was denied. The newspapers describe your heart as a metronome. It helps you remember there's a drum declaring war inside of you at all times. I think it's been beaten too hard. You are defeated. You are forcing open wounds that are only trying to heal. How could you not feel your own fleece filling it? I have witnessed the beast he brought out of you. I begged you to retire the manic coddling of his love. Even the flowers out front could see he didn't want you anymore. That's why they were all dying. Not because his new girlfriend was lazy. They were wilting anytime they felt the petals in your brain shake. There was a time when you were beautiful to me. There was a point when I believed you could survive on your own. You abandoned your children with hopes of you winning the war, and I wasn't mad at you. In fact, I was so proud that you understood you could exist alone. I just wish I would have known back then what your motives really were. So tell me, did Dad's face look like his heart was breaking each time you put a bullet in him? Did Linda's small body explode just like you wanted? Did it feel good to point and pull out all the places they had betrayed you as you stole your revenge from them? Tell me that you did all of this for your children. Again, tell me how any of my future relationships are ever going to peacefully end now that I've discovered there is butcher in my blood. I want to forgive you. The prison keeps calling, begging me to come visit you. They'll probably keep calling until I do. They can't. I'm gonna make them wait. I guess that's Dad's part of my brain telling me to get back at you by pretending you don't exist. You want Dave to go up? I did set up matadors last night. Listen.
You did it in front of
I did it in front of the girl who made me speak half of it in Spanish one time. I can do it again though.
Matador.
So then matadors. Alright.
Do
So
the
the
whole
poem
thing
is
in an
about
accent.
7 people who want to kill me.
Do the whole thing in an accent.
7 matadors.
Just want to hear.
1.
Uno.
Hosanna. My lungs collapsed when you asked me to recite a night that I invented. She spits this in smoke signals. I hope she remembers the mercy I show arriving numb in a room more crowded than this. Her fingertips are drawn to me. When she finally kills me, give all credit to her toreros. Ghosts. Magic can be one of 2 things, a ghost or an escape. You are all handkerchiefs and no doves. 3. To my leader, I know you hate me. I'm sorry for never knowing how much you needed to hear that. In the long run, everyone explodes, gets caught in the rain, and as ashes are washed away. 4. I hope you die soon, if only to see your face again. If it helps you live dangerously, I'll tell you some secrets about heaven. Up here, we drink bourbon out of measuring cups, swim in oceans of chocolate milk, immediately are taught how to play guitar, and it exists. 5. The farmer suggests that one must handle a bull with a staff and take no chances. That a gentle bull most often kills or maims his keeper, not a vicious one. For the man who tried to keep me, control, my corpse, the bed filled with red roses, tools planted between each bush, everything you need to start a fire, and my tame heart, a place to start it. 6. A cowboy refused to shake my hand because in a past life I was a woman and today I am a toro. He still spurts an apology for that day. 7. Hosanna, for myself.
7 matadores.
7 matadores.
I love how your mouth just like, It goes into this frown. You know.
Because I get angry when I speak in Spanish.
Siete mosqueteros.
Oh, it makes me so mad.
Siete mosqueteros. Ocho mosqueteros.
There's a hole in my straw. What other poem? Oh, I want to read one more. Can you hand me the Junkyard Ghost Revival?
Not handing it.
Gracias. Thank you for tossing that to me. Look, 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 look. I know it's in here somewhere.
You haven't said queen.
It's in the other one. Will you hand me the Elephant Engine High Dive Revival?
What's with all these revivals?
There's a lot of poetry revivals in the world, apparently. Oh, isn't this a good quote? That's randomly in those mix of books. Alright. Oh, Gene Heath is in here? Oh my gosh, I saw my Alright, this poem is called Clowns, and it is by Robbie Q. Telfer. There's a dark club, full of hyenas, barking at an empty stage. John Lovitz replaced Phil Hartman on news radio after one night when Andy Dick fed cocaine to Phil Hartman's recently clean wife, Bryn Hartman. Phil Hartman told Bryn Hartman that if she started using again, he would leave her, so Bryn Hartman shot Phil Hartman and herself in the head. Years later, Andy Dick taunted John Lovitz about how Andy Dick caused Phil Hartman's death, so John Lovitz grabbed Andy Dick by the head and bounced his head off a comedy club bar. David Foster Wallace wrote a very simple and easy to understand book called Finite Jest. Richard Pryor burns. Gilda Radner smolders. Andy Kaufman withers on the ground with women. Bill Hicks never gained mainstream popularity because he couldn't tell more dick jokes than jokes about the first Iraq War. Perpetually censored, Bill Hicks was diagnosed with cancer, taped a set on David Letterman, told more jokes about abortion than the Battle of the Sexes. David Letterman pulled the segment from the show, and his friend Bill Hicks died a few months later. Bill Cosby shot his shotgun mouth with a sleepy rage. Michael Richards does the same, but his pellets are flaccid. Dave Chappelle walked away from millions of dollars because he couldn't control why the hyenas were barking. In February 2009, David Letterman aired the censored Bill Hicks segment and publicly apologized to Bill Hicks' mother, Mary Hicks. She only half accepted the apology. At Kermit the Frog's memorial service, Miss Piggy had to run away from the podium at the end of his eulogy. Scooter told the congregation why we should live in the moment like Kermit did, and then Scooter died of AIDS just 2 years later. Big Bird came out to saying it's not easy being green, and for a moment it sounded as if there was a human being living inside this giant yellow body. For a moment, it sounded like this impossible real person was starting to crack and cry inside this now trembling feathered body. All because a frog didn't want to bother people by going to the hospital in time. Later, the ashes of someone named Jim Henson were scattered on a ranch in Santa Fe. From the stage, you can't see the hyenas, but you can hear them barking. Your job is to be meat dangling to tease out the barking. Your job, clown, is to be meat dangling. Dance for the canine scream. That means you're winning. You're a failure if they think they can hear a real human being shivering and frightened inside your giant clown body. There's a 2-drink minimum. Tip your waitress. You'll be here all night, you say. You'll be here all night, sucking out the cackles, daring death to just try and take you. And that's the joke, you know. Life. Life is a wonderful joke. When Tina Fey was 5 years old, she was playing in her front yard. A man walked up to her and just slashed her across the face. When Stephen Colbert was 10, his father and 2 oldest brothers died on a plane crash on September 11, 1974. Mark Twain tried to swallow an entire planet's imperialistic, selfish greed, stuff it inside a funny white suit. Then the daughter of Samuel Clemens died. Mark Twain kept working. Samuel Clemens stopped working. We go on, despite this, to spite this, in spite, we go on. It really is a wonderful joke. It's really quite hilarious.
That is like a perfect poem.
I love that poem. Oh my gosh, he did that in St. Paul. I cried my little face off. Um,
Wait, you did?
yeah,
Where?
at Artist Quarter on semifinals night.
What team was it?
He was on Chicago Green Mill, but they did this all the sack poems. It was like him and Roger and Laura. Laura? Who's this?
I didn't see this.
Oh. They did all the sack poems that night. They let everybody sack, so. Alright.
Sax.
I said sack. Oh. I'll do one more poem and then Dave can come up here. Is that cool? And then we'll just do this until 6 o'clock when I have to leave.
Yeah, at 5 though, Chris Carson is going on that.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Maxwell and a woman named Skylark, they're gonna be going right after.
Okay. I know who Maxwell is babysitting for. I met her last night. She was here. She was sitting right there when I came in. She's good people.
The girl, she was here?
No.
Conway?
She had the red lipstick on. She came from the bar when I came. This poem is by Buddy Wakefield. You can find it at redbuddy.com in this book, The Elephant Engine High Diver Project. It's called Hurling Crowbirds at Mocking Bars. If we were created in God's image, then when God was a child, he smushed fire ants with his fingertips and avoided tough questions. There are ways around being the go-to person, even for ourselves, even when the answer is clear. Like the holy water Gentiles drank before they realized forgiveness is the release of all hope for a better past. I thought those were chime shells in your pocket. So I chucked a quarter at it, hoping to hear some part of you respond on a high note. You acted like I was hurling crowbirds at mocking bars and abandoned me for not making sense. Evidently, I don't experience things as rationally as you do. For example, I know mercy when I have enough money for the jukebox at a gay bar. You know mercy whenever someone shoves a stick of morphine straight up into your heart. It felt amazing, the days you were happy to see. So I smashed a beehive against the ocean to try to make our splash last longer. Remember all the honey, had me looking like a jellyfish ate, but you walked off the water in a porcupine of light, strands of gold drizzled out of the tips of your wasps. This is an apology letter to the both of us for how long it took me to let things go. It was not my intention to make such a production of the emptiness between us, playing tuba on the tombstone of a soprano to try to keep some dead singer's perspective alive. It's just that I could have swore you had sung me a love song back there, and that you meant it. But I guess some people just chew with their mouth open. So I had earplugs alive with my throat, hoping they'd get lodged deep enough inside the empty spots that I wouldn't have to hear you breathing. So I wouldn't have to listen to my heart keep saying all my eggs were in a basket of red flags, all my eyes to a bucket of blindfolds, in the cupboard with the muzzles and the gauze. You know, I didn't mean to speed so far out and off, trying to drive all your nickels to the well, when you were happy to let them wishes fall. But I still show up for gentleman practice, in the company of lead dancers, hoping their grace will get stuck in my shoes. Is that a handsome shadow on my breath, sweet woman? Or is it a cattle call in a school of fish? Dance with me, less like a waltz for panic, more like the way we'd hoped to swing the night we took off everything when we were swinging for the fences. My love, you know I want to breathe deeper than this. You know I didn't mean to look so serious. Didn't mean to act like a filthy floor. Didn't mean to turn us both into a cutting board when there were knives stuck in the words where I came from. Too much time in the back of my words. I pulled knives from my back and my words. I cut trombones from the moment you slipped away. And I know it left me looking like a knife fight lady. I know it left me looking like a shotgun shell. You know I might have gone and lost my breath. But I want to show you how I found my breath to death. It was buried under all the wind instruments, hidden in your castanets. If you ever want to know how it felt when you left, if you ever want to come inside, just knock on the spot where I finally pressed stop, playing musical chairs with your exit signs. Forgiveness is for anyone who needs a safe passage through my mind. I'm going to cause you a miracle when you see the way I kept God's image alive. If I really was created in God's image, And when God was a boy, he wanted to grow up to be a man, a good man. And when God was a man, a good man, he started telling the truth in order to get honest responses. He'd say, I know, I really should have worn my cross again, but I don't want to scare the Gentiles off. I love that poem. Oh, these poems. Oh.
Yay, Blair Bomber for the covers. Covers. Yeah, covers. Clap, clap, covers. Alright, my dude Dave is gonna get up here and read some poems. He's pretty freaking phenomenal, and you're not gonna know what to do with yourself when he starts to read. So, coming to the stage is Dave freaking Nichols.
Are we not gonna sing?
No, we can, because Dave motherfucking Nichols.
No.
Motherfucking Nichols. You should have heard Andrew this morning.
They drug us into rehab to teach us discipline, and they expected Kantian regularity, something like a hellified enlightenment, and we were stuck. When I mentioned to the Dion catchers that it was our instructions to stay lit, they took a photograph of a parking lot, 3 strangers planking on the yellow, and misquoted us in The Guardian. You covered, I want to be your dog, and I sensed we caught some American colloquial. Our feet were north and south like Bowie's were, escaping Germany with Iggy on a horse's back. When they asked Burroughs how he survived the Reagan age, having shared needles with the entire airport of exiles, he responded, I made sure to take the first hit every time. This is not pop music. You don't sign up to pavement. Art means people die. Art means decorating the corpse. Art is singing in a theater with no echo. Art is locking blind women in blue rooms and quantifying the results. Art is the results that come slow from a cool, colorless bird. The no, no, no from the keyhole. The titling of noise. I woke up on a bus outside London with Dasein on my mind. There were street signs out of place and the markets were closed under bridges. Jew towns and Christ towns, kings with their iPods. I passed a man with his eyes scrunched on the sidewalk. I whispered, dead or drunk. You handed me a fist of cigarettes and breathed about the gray zone in between, where the Fanta bottles squeeze open with the fizz and destroy a coffee bureau. You describe how Soho squeezes when someone's tugging at its boundaries. You ask a traveler what his back points to and he'll never say himself. It takes a mashup of 3 tables at the Lava Lounge and 15 shots of vodka to decide the word I just doesn't work. It's too temporal. We are 17 in weekend bodies. We tell the truth on mescaline. What saves us for only so long is that our skeletons don't melt as quick as skin does. Your cortex is a coat rack that forgot whose property your muscles are. Amy, you are basically all nerves. It takes a weapon like a paintbrush to turn a birthplace black and go back into it. Have you heard they use female scarecrows now because the straw doesn't burn? It's a deadhead here too. The lake is calm tonight. I've got all 10 fingers and the cliffs of Cleveland still stand. Things are not so bad. You can see car shows and easy riders in their sweating pubs closing into one another like a fire drill. There are Ohioans clamoring with their faces on fire. They would like to be paraded in. I am lying on their limbs. There are guns tonight in Oslo. America is exhausted with killing but continues. The dead are exhausted from the sound and are dying to be let in. The drawbridge is popping open. When it does, the truck stop floods. You stare across the shining explosives that shingle this whole surface. You've cracked the window but have not let down your hair. Our instructions were to newspaper the hearts of our enemies' enemies. Our successes made the emptiness unanimous. The newspapers asked my heart what it would do if it was number 1404,002, and my heart answers, pills. A tear falls on the dot labeled Camden on my tourist map, and a voice less beautiful than yours says, boom. That's a new poem. This poem starts with a quote, and this is also sort of a poem to a woman. Here are those times recreated by the brutal force of sun-drenched images, the light of live tragedy. Pier Paolo Pasolini. You had a revelation while handcuffed to the radiator, a leading participant in the Cleveland prison experiment, where your cellmate broke your dream catcher and you refused to sleep a day, counting yourself lucky for your liquid blood. You spent hours of the night counting the street names you remembered that had island girls kissing in patois, adding fabric to the world. One was in Hawaii's Liver Street, where you discovered a small index of Bible quotes in the airplane seat in front of you. Maybe the butterflies are dominoes. It wasn't just you. There was a pizza box in your hand that helped you grasp this aloha fact, pronouncing it aloud on a volcano. No one in this burn-up town's attractive in the least. You and Crystal saw the bookmark advertisement for the lucid dreaming seminar and said, Dynamo. You dove breast first into the nest. From the photographs, it looks like where a sidewalk cracked in the Bowery. You had a nutshell in your face. You became a Kabbalist when you found you could carry a junkyard car on your back and take it anywhere. I met you chucking through a thrift gypsy purse with your tongue touching your nose. You prayed for animals and those who could almost touch this kingdom. Your favorite object is a bubble wrap quilt you don't even own. You only love destruction when it's enough to end the too-long movie, drowning in credits, the wealthy art. Your pilgrimage is an unsolved cafe puzzle in St. Anthony, Ann Arbor, where an orphan wandered God into your free breakfast. If that boy even still lives, you kept his heart alive by splitting your fingertip and pointing at the door. Preach the only way to rest your feet on both sides of this country is to never sacrifice the road for a more expensive engine and keep an attitude of gratitude. Thank you. Outside the window, barred closed with staples and celery sticks under which the fall and rise of the resting prison's chest silence the complex memories of your invisible. I'm waiting face to stone. I'm not as physical as you. I wander with ideas. You recite rabbinic script and twist ontological images toward perfection. In this photo, an American with the bearing of an armless statue. Below this you wrote, our last. This is, I'm going to read one more from the iPod. See if I can get it to scroll up.
You wear glasses.
Screw it. I'm going to read some Sharon Olds. Is that okay?
I think that Andrew was talking about that with Bridget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Sharon Olds a lot. I just happen to have this sort of with me.
I don't
This is
know.
there's a okay, I'm going to read this one first. This is a poem called Cambridge Elegy from her book The Gold Cell. I scarcely know how to speak to you now. You are so young now, closer to my daughter's age than mine. But I've been there and seen it, and must tell you, as the seeing and hearing spell the world into the deaf mute's hand. The dormer windows, like the ears of a fox, like the double row of teats on a pig, still perk up over the square, though they're digging up the street now as if digging a grave. The shovel shrieking on stone like your car sliding on its roof after the crash. How I wanted everyone to die if you had to die. How sealed into my own world I was, deaf and blind. What can I tell you now that I know so much and you are a freshman, still drinking a quart of orange juice and playing 3 sets of tennis to cure a hangover? Such an ardent student of the grown-ups. I can tell you, we were right. Our bodies were right. Life was really going to be that good, that pleasurable in every cell. Suddenly I remember the exact look of your body, but better than the bright corners of your eyes or the light of your face, the rich Long Island puppy fat of your thighs or the shined chino of your pants, bright in the corners of my eyes. I remember your extraordinary act of courage in loving me, something no one but the blind and halt had done before. You were fearless. You could drive after a sleepless night just like a grown-up and not be afraid. You could fall asleep at the wheel easily and never know it. Each blonde hair of your head, and they were thickly laid. put out like a filament of light 20 years ago. The Charles still slides by with that ease that made me bitter when I wanted all things hard as your death was hard, wanted all things broken and rigid as the bricks in the sidewalk, or your love for me stopped cell by cell in your young body. I went ahead and had the children, the life of ease and faithfulness, the palm of the breast, every millimeter of delight in the body. I took the road we stood on at the start together. I took it all without you, as if in taking it after all, I could most honor you. And this one is a very good poem. It's called, it's from a book called The Dead and the Living, and it's called Sex Without Love. How do they do it? The ones who make love without love, formal as dancers gliding over each other like ice skaters over the ice, fingers hooked inside each other's bodies, faces red as steak, wine, wet as the children at birth whose mothers are going to give them away. How do they come to them? Come to the God. Come to the still waters and not love the one who came there with them, heat rising slowly as steam off their joined skin. I guess they are the true religious, the purists, the pros, the ones who will not accept a false messiah, love the priest instead of the God. They do not mistake the partner for their own pleasure. They are like great runners. They know they are alone with the road surface, the cold, the wind, the fit of their shoes, their overall cardiovascular health, just factors, like the other in the bed, and not their truth, which is the single body alone in the universe against its own best time.
That's heartbreaking.
I don't think so. I think she's sort of, okay. My heart is not broken. This poem was in the book that Right Bloody published of mine. It's for a club in Dayton, Ohio called The Mask.
Wait, what?
What?
Right Bloody
Wow. Oh, not Right Bloody. I'm sorry. Blasted Press. I'm glad Blair's not listening to me. Blasted Press book. I'm sorry. We were talking about Right Bloody before. I'm sorry, people watching at home. But yeah, this poem is about a club in Dayton called The Mask, and me and my friend Caroline going there and getting really drunk all the time. It's called Truck Stop for the Mask. Your upstairs is shaped like a diamond. Is it modeled from a coffee-stained tube? Banana outfits and smoke and laughing, hollowly alive bodies dancing. Non-rhythmic and glitter torsos funneling stiff drinks by the bar. And Caroline convinces any listener how these clubs are basically authentic. The music never gentle. Lauper or some Madonna jam. Headlights, painted faces, searching street signs through the steam. Homophobia keeps them out, she says. The frat sign t-shirts we don't like brushing up against anyway expects an audience and pauses. I'm searching for my heartbeat though beneath the Adderall. We saw it carried away by indiscriminate bass Cessna cabins, speakers large as doorways slamming tight before they open, or taking Red Bulls out for walks or to splash their urine on graffiti, where smokers with these huge eyelashes wander drunk and piss off the last generation doormen tangled in red Huntington tape. The benefit is a fashion show. We are staring at the drag beneath the mask banner decorated balsam snatched by rain. This cartoon based on real life. This myth of fingerprints. This parade. Their butterfly winged backs attached to corsets, lipstick, some off color. Neon, Spokane, washed out jean skirts, heels that are like stools that hold these heavy mamas. You are too drunk to remember. You are too drunk to remember that life becomes less Beckett when you're older. Who'd agree, unless they saw the missing footprints of the turtle-chested ladies at the dance on the ballroom floor, Bette Midler dance routines a mile long, investing everything they've built into a feeling. At Tim Hortons, we have argued about your afterlife. Caroline pictures yours as more of an Of Montreal concert than a garden. More Mustang convertible orange over springtime, like Masquerade, a truck stop meant for queens. I admit that we'd be entertained as well. We'd be standing under rain. We'd be ruining our jackets. We'd be scratching at the scars left from police-armed trapeze-men at the entrance who scraped our skin for quarters. Spotlights on every door regardless, says Caroline. It's like any other life. You can't just go back the way you came. You're left with merely silver dust and crock-skin wallpaper, every hung-up face awaiting scratch-sniff painting. This one an alarm clock. Late teens rub their noses over the flat tonsils of a puppet's carpet tongue. A tribute band called Kiefer Sutherland's pounding out the death instruments. The chandeliers above the vending machines breaking open like smashed spiders. Cracked bells popping, pick not freezing, okay computer style, and empty buses swim towards home. We've still got specks of glitter on our thumbs that haven't rubbed off since that dark. It's not hard to see the ballet line of human tattoos when you peek. Never snuff to take a close look beneath the orchestra lights where the cardinal feathered hats get knocked off by the rumble of stray pantyhose limbs attempting a slow clap to one of your tunes. Oh, burlesque mesh communion, caterpillar wired love songs sung for sex, fanatics of the wall, chemicals turning our backs into a caravan, and we have forgiven half the desert. Nothing beautiful, says Caroline. Nothing beautiful is wasted. Thank you.
I was just friends like 4 or 5.
Dave Nichols will be coming back. Alright. Wait, did you walk out there? Are they your people? Or you just happened to walk in? Oh, okay. You haven't heard my new pieces either? I like when my friends hear my pieces prose. If you haven't noticed, it's one of my favorite pastimes. I'll tell you later.
You like when your friends do what?
I like when my friends hear my pieces, especially other poets. It's one of my favorite pastimes. What they thought about it. Like when you told me about the rapist piece, that's like exactly what I was thinking. But I needed somebody else to say that. Because it took me, I was telling Dave, it took me like 2 pages in, because these are short little pages, but 2 pages in to realize that that was all crap till I fell over what I was really trying to say. So I gotta cut all of what happened in the beginning, because that's not what I was trying to say. It was just like thought, paper, wrote, okay, this is the poem. Okay, we finally got to it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, thank you. I need that. I need that. Some people need critique, some people don't.
I don't like that hat.
I like that.
Alright, so, sorry for like the 3rd time, bro. God damn. Alright, they're children and they are so attentive. I like those kids. I wish they were 12 years older though.
We're heading outside in 1 second.
Okay.
I went without cursing.
Alright, Kara's coming up here after me though.
They can do it anyway.
After she drops some coins in the bucket. Blueface, Andrew broke. Alright. Yeah. No, Andrew had to go see him. Sorry. Hey Andrew, if you like this video, I hope you're having fun with the They're very cute. And they're very well behaved looking. Yes. Alright, this is I'm going to read you guys high school anecdotes, then I'm going to read you on how to love a closeted bisexual man as an out gay man. Yes, it is. Loosely. Alright.
Say that title one more time.
On how to love a closeted bisexual man as an out gay man. It's not going to be the title. High school anecdotes. Sort of inspired by Dave Nichols. We were lied to. In these hallways, dead men scream in the paint. Hindu Greek gods trade genitals and finger the mythology roughly. These hallways measure the dead in good company. You see the wood paneling of your home here. The pink-haired girl has a crush on you. You have a crush on her ponytail holder. These are the best years of our life, they say. These are the best.
being stripped in the confines of a guidance counselor's fetish for things going right as scheduled, a teacher's ego, doctors nonchalantly taking credit for your brain. These are the days of our lives, they say. Summer is coming. Live in springtime, teenager. We are wreck and demolition, destruction and poor nutrition. We explode like our birds, leaving all of our fingers and toes in some chick's pinata vagina. I have seen headless things, walking around, eating pussy and calling it brain food. Any boy can swim in the Red Sea, he says, but it takes a man to drink from it. We live in our high school, Michael. Archangel, the cookies your mother made us the day Sonny said he wasn't graduating with our class. Laugh at the honesty, because that is as close as teenage boys get to cry honestly in our town. Throw lit bottle rockets at the sky when they color themselves with your sister's paintbrush. Say it again, Jermaine. We are all shadows to the sun. Does it blink when it looks at its reflection? Jermaine, you were too bright, as the blinking sun would say. The homeroom girls called you a smartass. The jocks spit at the cafeteria in your lungs. You fed us too much, Ravel. Ravel, you are what a lie looks like when it tries to tell the truth too much. You are hands to clouds. Still my boy. You are so clitoris sensitive with a big ass head. We called ourselves the Warriors without a cowboy. Jaws slightly jacked off left. Skewed lines, lopsided like a pair of titties. That's how we liked ourselves. This is for the gray in us. The parts that wish we were as beautiful as our shadows. The parts that trip over ourselves and fall in love with something other than our own erections. We knew graduation was a huge group funeral for our childhoods. That's when we all came out to each other. I was and still am the only gay one. You said it, Mike. If these are the best years of our lives, then acid trip me at the top of the mountain of this quintessence. I can fall to death. It's all negative slopes from here, they tell us. Y minus 1, Y1 equals M times the quantity of X minus X1, they say. Compulsive love will bring about disaster, they say. Boys can fuck and still lead normal lives. Girls have sex and become amoeba, that they give up everything, they say. Kiss your mother on the cheek for this. Leave the zombie your home has become. Grow up, boy, grow up. When the smoke of the tassel shifting clear. Mike, Ray, Jermaine, Sonny, we will all laugh at the honesty in unison. We will all laugh and finally let our hair down. High school. What you say? Okay. Thanks. My first successful attempt at a list poem, I wrote a list poem, oh God, on how to love a closet bisexual man as an out gay man. I gave myself a lot of liberties, and I said I was not going to use the word rainbow or pride, and I didn't. On how to love a closeted bisexual man as an out gay man. 1. Do not remind him of what you aren't. Only give him the parts of you that you own. Make promises loudly at night, at the nighttime. Cook every one of them in the heat of your torso and give them to him. When he doubts that they are done, write lies on 21 balloons and let them go. 2. You are a fortress. Your love is a dragon. He will be the knight that attempts to rescue your damsel in distress. You will win every time, but you may not get your knight back. 3. When you kiss him electric, massage his back and grab his flesh. Bite, yank, hard. This may be the last time you taste him. Fog every window he has. At these times, remind him of what you are. 4. Fuck it, you can adopt. 5. Yes, fucking the surrogate to impregnate her is still cheating. No. 6. Don't you even ask. 7. 8. Stay out of the water. Your insecurities are sharks. Their teeth are sharp and crave the blood of your trust. At these times, remind yourself of what you are. Masturbate to the thought of you and him. Kiss a new part of his body. He will take all of you in this night. Make love like you are on fire, like you want to burn. You are the fire. Breathe when he does not. Strip more naked than fear. Take his socks off. Keep the lights where they are when you walked into the room. You are the karma that he's been anticipating. You both deserve this. Hold him as if he is falling off of the world and you are a parachute. He will love the landing. 9. The morning he wakes up screaming for someone who will touch him like his mother. Do not be hurt. Wrap him in the softest parts of your flesh, even if you have none that has not been eaten, even when your fists bleed, when your tongue sucker punches your teeth and you say what you never meant. Watch the wind around him, it has a secret. Curse the trees for having curves. Scrunch the trains in your blood. You got to if you're going to survive. 10. When he finally tells you he cheated, not ask the first question you think of. Pretend the answer is the one you want it to be. Pretend the answer is a woman and show him all of the rage or forgiveness you've been hiding under your tongue. Grab a knife, cut a sandwich. Remind yourself that he did not belong to you anyway. That he has to come out of the closet to realize that there's a whole house on the other side. You are the whole house. You are the chicken, the road, and the cross. You stretch too much anyway. Shrug. Shrug so hard you mean it. Make your memory bulimic until you vomit his name. You have to survive instead of live sometimes. When 11 doesn't come, send a polite text message breaking it off. Leave the most important pieces of you in him. They are only pieces after all. Melt his phone number. Throw all of your feelings for him on top of your favorite movie to watch together and light a match. Burn it in the hardest places of you. 12. Tell her that the baby is cute in the comments section. That it has your eyes. When her questions sound like she's trying to correct you, don't you mean his father's eyes? Tell her that's what you said. Realize, please, that none of you did anything wrong, and listen to the stitches melt off of your heart. That was it. You have to tell me. You did it. It wasn't that good. Alright, coming to the stage is, she'll hurry up and get ready to get to the stage is, Kara Lee. We kind of waiting for her at noon, but she never showed up. So, here she is, you streaming viewers and people in the coffee house. The talented Kara Lee.
Alright, hi. I'm just gonna start. This one is something I'm working on. It's very, very, very undone. I have to actually call the woman it's about and finish interviewing her so I know where to add some stuff, but I'm working on it. It's called If We All Were Blind. I was inscribing poetry on the bricks of a toy store in red ink. And right as I was about to explain exactly why God could never be a girl, my father scooped me up and handed me off to a 40-year-old bipolar goddess. She had just finished earning her master's in people building. And little did we both know I'd be her next assignment. I remember her ears were shaped like shorelines blown up in set display on the sides of her head. And she talked as if she was from Barbados or some other beautiful island, but she was from Cleveland. If we all were blind. She pushed her pointer finger against her dome and first thought with our minds instead of our eyes. Her brain scrambled for the end of her sentence. We'd all be all right, I finished. Yeah, she said. We'd all be all right. And it makes me think about how I love if we all were blind, she said. And with that, I closed my mouth. And with that, I closed my mouth and opened all the floodgates that let light in because I know God when I see him. At 15, 13, she had her first baby. They counted me out, she said, but every 4 years, I'm like a meteorite. I hit the ground and go kaboom! And that night, standing beside a toy store with the smell of liquor tickling my nose, I learned about moving. I learned that when inner voices tell us to trek to South Philly, barehearted with hollow eyes burning holes in the backs of our necks, we should go. Who are we to avoid inner voices? Because in South Philly, they take broken glass and concrete and steel and they create mosaics. What is your name? I asked her. Leah, she said, and how do you spell it? Liya. So that's it for that one. You want me to do one? Wait for the new one? I don't know. Like what?
I want to hear the two you did.
What? Okay. Alright, so this one is it's called Free Thoughts. And the way I wrote this is my friend Phoenix, he was conducting a workshop, and in the workshop he wrote a bunch of words on the board, like he wrote God, love, sex, relationships, rape, abandonment, deadbeat parents, death. And he crossed them out and he said, you can't write about any of this. Your poem cannot have any of these aspects in it. So this is what I got out of that, and I named it Free Thoughts. The cracks in the marble travel towards the wall like lost children wander towards infinity. Eventually, they'll get there. Eventually, all things will come to a beginning as long as someone is willing to place the painted spaces of their soul on display. Will it be you? Will you eat Fuji apples on the eyelash of a sphinx with pure imagination as your guest? It is up to us to remix everything you think you know and embed in your heart cells everything we create. And when the silver lining rides the Milky Way like a stallion, is when Satan and Moses will kiss. And the sound of their lips touching will cause an explosion in an atheist's chest, but his faith will keep him alive. Sort of how hormones keep Catholic girls squirming at night. It is inevitable that all water will form to the vase it is put in. Me and my best friend Autumn, we used to dance our innocence away in the basements of warehouses, wondering, why didn't our eyes gleam like the other girls? Why weren't we as satisfied with pelvises smashing? I know now. It was because they were devils in fishnet stockings and Uggs. And we were Mary Magdalenes in sheep's clothing. We didn't belong there. Sort of how chimes don't belong on the tops of cathedrals. Sort of how angels don't have sex. No. Angels would rather salsa on supernovas or tap dance on the curled bottom lip of Saturn. Either way, they are what I envy. You are what I envy. You are the drop of red paint that fell into the Pacific, made fish turn their heads, and for a moment wondered, is there anything else out there beyond the horizon line? And you are what Beethoven dreamt about the night before he composed Tempest. And they will marvel at the way water lilies dance on the tip of your tongue, and your only job is to stay humble. That's it for that one. guess I'll do one of my favorites. It's called Brainstorm. Brainstorm, I'll let you have a suggestion. Alright, so brainstorm. Hormones dance in the heat of the night. Pop, lock, then they'll drop, then they'll scold you. Strike, then caress you, and nevertheless you'll let them undress you. Regrets? Few. Life is a great balancing act. Watch how I get balanced with the lisp of most deaf on my tongue. Most ears, they are deaf to the tongue, to the words crafted from boundless thoughts. The revolutionary ones get lynched halfway up the larynx and lay bloody in our nerve endings. Poets, people, we do not nurture our words into actions enough, cause and effect enough. Verbs have reactions, and it's a beautiful thing to wake up and stand for something, or you will fall for a ghost, for cups of faucet water posing as oceans. You can hate Hitler, but he knew how to get things done. Rearrange the way Jews view their tombstones. They no longer consider cremation. And that was just a friendly reminder that the evil people of this world will never take a day off, so how can you? Don't let the misled be more motivated than you, for what you believe in is more powerful and more resilient than hate. Love is like talent. It will lose every time to hard work, unless you make your love work hard. Their eyes tug at your shoulders, asking for revelation. How dare you turn your back on them? See, when a deaf girl asked me, what does heaven sound like? I gave her the best simile I could, because freedom isn't casting off your chains. It's going back and creating change, breaking chains that wrapped around and bound our baptism. I'm not asking for you to be the answer, but when you partake in the brainstorm, thoughts will form like art forms, like as X approaches positive infinity, this being crosses its horizontal asymptote. Notions smash and Einstein smiles in his grave. 8 lives down. 6.8 billion left to save. That's it for that one. In front of Liberty? Oh, I know. More pain and how they feel is necessary, right along with suffering and dying. The one, I'll do this one. I think this is the one you're talking about. So this one is titled On Pain and How They Say It's Necessary, right along with sacrifice and dying. We force ourselves to call this pain beautiful. Because if not, we'd all commit suicide. Knees bent, jumping headfirst into wading waters. We force ourselves to see the beauty in a million babies hungry and crack-headed mothers and cancer and schizophrenia and breaking and burning and death screams. Because if we didn't, if all of this didn't mean something more than it does, then we'd all commit suicide. And nobody likes the cop-out. Don't you know? The burn means it's working. When life gives you lemons, you've got lemonade. No pain, no gain. Rain is what grows the flower. There can be no light without dark. Look at all the catchy phrases we've constructed to justify God's spite. Unpoetic sidebar. If God is so perfect, why couldn't he just create a world where light can be acknowledged with no knowledge of darkness? Last night, I cried in sync with a thunderstorm. Through Psalms, I asked God, who hurt you? Who? Saying someone must have hurt you bad. I haven't cried like that since Baltimore. And at the end of cursing him and all he's ever stood for, I apologize. Sympathizing, as we often do. I'm sorry for whoever Indian gave your smile away. I understand that hurt people, but lighten up on us a little, why don't you? Were you closer to Lucifer than they say? And when he fell, God damned and glorious, did he take more than just your praises with him? And in mid-sentence, it all made sense. Since what are we without our music? Truth is, we live in a cold, cold world, and God could never be a girl because women are much more selfless than this. So that's it for that one. I have just one more. Thank you, Kimi. Well, I want to do this one. All right. So this one, I wrote is called "Fall Far from the Tree." It's short. I have my mother's feet. They are plump from all the disappointment falling to the bottom of us. We carry them around, one in front of the other, and they always ask us, why do you walk so slow? And with your head pulled toward the earth. It is not sadness, per se. She just couldn't take her eyes off the way her past was shaking in their own mistakes. And as for me, well, I just can't stop thinking, these are my mother's feet. And I don't drag them quite so skillfully yet, so I must have a lot more hurting to do. A lot more walking to do. And I have my mother's laugh, too. It gets scary sometimes when I hear her climbing out of my throat like that. Maybe it's a sign. I gotta do a lot more laughing. And come to think of it, we cry alike too. No noise, just tears, and the look of a deep despair stretched across our faces. The look of someone who knows they weren't manufactured to break, but whose heart is begging God to let them do so. He said, no, gotta keep going, gotta keep going. So that's it. Thank you.
Yay, Kara. So pros, are you gonna sit there and look pretty? You got stuff you want to share? Alright. Yeah, we are. Alright.
Is this like recorded or
Extremely
Oh.
recorded.
and recorded? For what further ado?
For anybody that's not watching it right now to watch later.
Oh yeah.
Yo, 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 yo. Pros is coming up to the stage, to the stage, to the stage. Pros is coming up to the stage. He's gonna read from a page, from a page. Clap, poets. Clap, clap, clap. If you're a poet, clap, clap. Clap, clap, clap. If you're eating a cookie. Clap, clap, clap. If you're going in the back. Clap, clap, clap. If you write a poem. Clap, clap, clap for Fatal Prose. Clap for Fatal Prose. Clap like it's the second clap in Cha-Cha Slide.
Oh my god.
Blair.
Sup, homie?
Oh, don't start the Cleveland Shuffle. Every time I hear the Cleveland Shuffle, a fight breaks out. I don't know.
Do the shuffle. Do, 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 do.
When Prose is done, can I read one poem by somebody else?
Yeah.
Since... Oh, fired.
Spray with mace.
No, you can't use that book. It says, Blair, you know it says in the front of that book that you cannot use, read, or perform those poems.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this is being recorded. I think we can, like, Laura Yesha can sue us if we read from the book.
I think she awake right now, Doctor?
You want me to Facebook Kristen O'Keefe afterwards?
Because Vertical's gonna make me paranoid about lawsuits again. He keeps doing stuff.
to be sued. Like,
Yeah, they can take
they
my
can sue
They can
bike,
sue you.
my
They can
$30
sue you.
bike. And
What are they gonna get? Like,
I got a $30 bike.
25 cents.
I got some hand-me-down papers.
I'm reading random poems out of a book that I've never read before, so this is going to be interesting. I can't tell if I'm hungry or just empty. The floorboards won't creak. There's no bottle of stolen scotch on the mantle. The Elmore James records won't ache like they used to. There's no spirit of Charles Bukowski stretching up this place. No cats in the alleyway mawing. There should be. There's no cinema in this. I miss cigarettes. It's just me and my ugliness now. The 2-day-old wine will have to do. Someday I went to a record museum of the world's worst ministers, the ones who downward spiral drone, who get increasingly boring the closer they get to their point. We'll line up stuttering 7-year-olds still learning to read in the main exhibit hall. We'll dress them in itchy vestments and have them recite the most moving passages of the Bible aloud. I'll name the audience participation cringeometer after you. The minister that performed your funeral told me you are with Jesus now, that if I don't find Jesus wherever he is hiding, I'll never see you again. I know I'll never see you again. It's not killing me. It's just digging slow graves in my heart. I hate when ministers mix their anthropomorphic metaphors when they confuse mourning with porousness. This wine tastes like battery acid and strong berry notes and an FU finish. Its sour itchiness is so familiar it's like drinking a mirror. Wow, and I'm not even drunk yet. My mother's probably right. I shouldn't be alone. I don't know if I believe in ghosts, but I can picture them, so what's the difference? I'm picturing you now, some gray cloud of you, pulled everywhere that remembering creates anchors. You're counting crocodile tears, able to see clearly now, finally, but still collecting evidence to prove it. The schizophrenia having shaped you even after death. You're watching us, memorizing the details of our grief. Your white skeletal figure bent over the toilet, your father's staring daggers at the walls, your mother's digging at a fat finger in the prescription bottle. You want to wrap each detail in paper. You want to keep it, but you don't know how. You grow more desperate as we grow less desperate. You try to memorize faster, pulling at our sadness like a kite on a string, even as what's left of your mind starts to dissipate, even as your soul form evaporates, at first softly, then violently, like white hair chopping in the wind. That was the end of that poem. Mindy Nedefi. Walking through a minefield here. We'll read another random poem that I've never read before. This is On the Side of the Road, Purgatory, Massachusetts. Is it a fish tank or is it a balloon? The girl with the bloody stump says to herself, staring at the plastic bag in the puddle, I like your fist. says the old lady passing her, pointing to the bloody stump. The girl is small and goat-like and can't manage the 5 words she wishes to say most. It is not a fist. And anyways, the lady is gone. She is half an hour ahead of herself always. She is already doing the dishes in the next town over, rubbing her thighs together with soap bubbles, fly, and pop. Rubbing in the friction of it. Caught and wet in that triangle of tangles, she imagines her husband's fingers pulling out the slow ribbon of her incoming orgasm. The girl with the bloody stump knows the scent of the wind is a dish bleached and cum. She holds her radiant rose of a non-fist up to the light to imagine the damage. There is a bone sticking out. She begins to feel immense pity for her 12-string guitar, which will never again know the strum of her hummingbird right hand. Am I dead? It is winter, so she breathes out to test it. A yellow dog trots by. She reaches out to him with the stump. The dog shows his teeth. It is a fury. The scream coming from her own throat, the ghost recognition in the dog's eyes, the crowd that does nothing. She steps back, putting her good hand out so as to appease the dog. He seems pleased enough, so he disappears. Perhaps he has become a mountain. The mountain in the distance does seem dog-like. It is true. It is the most dog-like mountain anyone has ever seen. There is a river in you, a baby says to her as he is strolled by. I didn't know I could cry, she says. If you only look at me, he says. Excuse me, can I look at your baby? I don't know, the mother spits. Can you? It is clear that she has never been made to love. The girl stares into the baby's eyes. There is a miniature gas station in each pupil. She turns around and sees the real deal behind her. I have to go. If she steps closer, something will catch. Say it, the baby calls after her. Say it now. She is walking, startled by her own power. The baby is screaming. The mother is shoving something pink into the slit of a mouth. It is not enough, this body. She can barely breathe. It is winter. She arrives at the shore of her death with the sudden knowledge that if she says it, everyone will have to see her. The gas clerk, flaccidly filling up a tank, looks up. Their eyes meet, and then, like brushing away a fly, he looks away. It, she begins. He glances up to find petals of blood falling from her wrist. He is waiting, the nozzle in his hand, singing gasoline. It is not a fist. My daughter asked me one day why do people die. I told her life is like a raindrop falling from the sky. Nobody knows when they're going to hit the ground, but when they hit the ground, the soul evaporates like water and begins to cry. Like watching someone's grandmother, and they find out I was running out of time. It's cool as easy as a Sunday morning. It's funny that way. Something like Billie Holiday would say if she was still alive, but faith is strangers. And ill-communicated truth is like a fallen angel. You can call it what it means to you, but that won't change its nature. And you can talk about tomorrow, but you never walk with him as long as now is riding shotgun with yesterday. The flying game you like to play. In a thinly framed paper airplane, circling the words you can't say. It's 8 paces to atonement, and your arms and legs are gone at death, so how's a soul supposed to get to heaven? You're cannon fodder for the formula your father taught you, like somebody put some bleach in your bath water. When your philosophy meets terminal velocity and every dream you reach is like a cloud that keeps the ground a secret, you think you're flying, but you're really falling upside down, like time's a friend that builds you up just to break you down. Like the sun's a lake of fire floating in the sky, and what you thought was light was just a shadow of a brighter God. Living is a dying art. Living is attacking and destroying all your fatal flaws, until the fact you're born fallen catches up to you. And what you thought you'd never say becomes forever true. That was a short one.
I like that poem. Living is a dying art.
Another short one. Now I'm walk on water till I can fly on fire. My mind's a choir. It started as a song I try to harmonize with the heart of God, because it's hard and he's the art that keeps me walk inspired. Beauty's my messiah, and I just can't stop shining. When I was drowning in my sin, he put me on the island of kindness, and I'm just so thankful. He took the purple haze of a rainbow and made a halo. And every day I see an angel telling me stay sober. Amazing how we came in plain clothes. And all I do is hang over stages, taking fruit from sour grapes. My mind's divine, aging my soul like wine. Beauty is Zion and I'm the ion that can't stop smiling. Cause I got everlasting life, so cut me and I'll just bleed more light. I can see foresight before sky. I don't need four eyes. I found God's diary. It turned out he was right and me. No, each coincidence is irony. Like the seventh letter is G. And that's just another form of we. Put it together and you got Jesus. God's a genius. I believe I can see it in the trees. I can feel it in the breeze. I can hear it when I speak. I can taste it when I eat. I can feel it when I think. I can feel it, and it's beautiful. And it's beautiful. That one got stuck in my throat. I feel like I'm playing hopscotch in a vat of acid reading from this book. It's okay. This book is dope. I will tell you who it's from and what the title is before I read it this time. Shabby Shisos? That's what, okay. This is Zombie Stand-Up. Thank you, what a wonderful audience. There am nothing more beautiful than the sound of rotting fleshing, slapping together. That's what she said. Me kidding, me eat. Whoa, I'm not reading that. Whoa. Whoa.
I'm sorry.
This is a minefield. Whoa. Maybe I should read it. I'm going to go ahead and read it.
Are there any little kids in here?
Yeah, there's no kids. Yeah, I know. I got to find it again. That just took me by surprise. I'm sorry. Okay.
Hey, like we here, buy their book. It should be on like Amazon or something, do you think?
I have bought their books.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't have copies.
Buy this book. I've never read online before. This is totally new for me. All right. All right. Thank you. What a wonderful audience. There am nothing more beautiful than the sound of rotting fleshing slapping together. That's what she said. Me kidding. Me eat on penis a long time ago. Because that's where men's brains are. And me, right, ladies? Speaking of fairer sex, ever notice when female zombie eat brains? She sit down, but when male zombie eat brains, he stand up. What am up with that? On to current events. Remember when we stormed White House thinking we would find brains? Last time we did something that ironic was when we ate George Romero's brain. Me time almost up, but let me know, leave with this. Me may not be funniest zombie comic you'll ever see, but it's unliving. Yeah, the me eat own penis. I didn't know where that was going. I don't know if I could have did like 4 pages of me eating my own penis. That's where I stopped.
Werewolf haiku. Same guy that did the zombie haiku book.
Okay. Yeah, that's enough.
This is got a new vampire, no, we already did a vampire one. He's got the zombie one coming out.
There's context? Please add context.
They basically tell a story, but it's written entirely in haiku.
Zombie language.
The zombie haiku book, the vampire haiku book. Apparently, I don't remember doing it, but apparently at some point last night I ordered the werewolf haiku book, and now he has Dawn of the Zombie haiku book.
Word.
Coming out this year.
See what you learn when you rarely open a poetry book and start reading from it? You let it be.
That name out
This is another one from Mindy Netterfield. The connection between God and nature beats me over the head with its earthy mallet. I'm gonna make this my last one. I'm gonna sit down. I woke up an atheist today, and it's definitely connected to the chakra magic lunar calendar, pinned by my kitchen window. Its daylights punched out with black X's marking the nights I've gone without stars. The Long Beach sunsets are trying to help. They are massaging my temples with their melted romance, calming me down with the blood pressure medication of their mellow collisions with the sky. Thanks, but I could really use some starlight. The unadulterated kind. The canopy of brass burning asterisks illuminating the vast deep. My back crashing its snares of gravity to the earth. My entire field of vision a complex astronomy. The universe glittering its jewelry. My mouth hung open like a starving fish, hooked, breathing shallow in the cold, damp midnight. This is day 3042 of my inner struggle with city life. I am staring dreamily out of the kitchen window, watching sunlight smelt and sweat in the steam from a cup of tea. I am picturing myself ranching, if that's even a verb. Later I will pause in the hallway of my apartment, having just bruised my hip on broken bookshelves, and fantasize about the sexy promise of open space. Like high school girls in farmhouses must fantasize about being crushed in the wasted, pulsing crowds of rock concerts. This distance from the land, it's a sacrifice you make, however, temporarily, to live huddled with the other artists and smart alecks, to go months without being called a liberal hippie by someone who says it's like a cancer in his mouth. It's a choice that makes itself for me. Every time I am rescued by the warm, clotted glow of art galleries, by the imitation of Django Reinhardt that is really not that bad, strumming rankishly out of the mood-lit punk bar, or the old Davy Bowie jukebox boxing the punchy patrons at the cheaper bar down the street. In the absence of starlight, you start looking for the shine in everything, the sparkle of fresh paved asphalt, the glinting litter of crinkled candy papers, the gold fillings in a smile so big you could live in it, with no forest of trees for comparison, the smallest signs of life for magic. God refuses to be outdone by the metropolis. When you are most homesick inexplicably for some place you've never even lived, an unexpected ocean breeze salts the heavy air, stirring everything. It says your happiness will return to you, like the prodigal son, having spent your inheritance of expectations extravagantly, but ready now to do the work of joy. Have faith. The signs of life gather themselves in any darkness. It's a rebirth, a rebuilding of what was never really destroyed, and what is its own kind of starlight. 1,000 bright minds flicker on, our imaginations like flashlights, searching for a path, blinking in the dark.
You leaving, Dave?
Huh?
I haven't eaten yet today except for this donut.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna read from books to occupy us while we're here.
You reading off the page?
Huh?
You reading off the page? What kind of order you in?
I'll never forget that note. What's up?
Did I do that?
I sent a Facebook message to the author, so I don't think there should be any problems. These poems are from the book Everything is Everything by Kristen O'Keefe Aftowitz. She is awesome. This is the book. You can buy it on WriteBloody.com. That's where all my poetry books come from, apparently. This poem is called Ballistic. I know about the mice in your cupboards, what you see when you look out the windows, the first things you do when you wake up. This is odd, because we have never met. With other poets, I know different things. The thunderous hairbrushes of their childhood, the humble lump in their husband's pants, their children, those screaming bundles of hope. But of so few poets do I really know so much of the ordinary stuff. The songs you can't play on your piano, the worn robe you amble in, the food you eat when you are at your happiest. This must be why my hand fluttered from my brow to my heart to my neck with so much sad electricity this morning. Your latest book slouching weak and mournful on my lap, a road map of your broken heart, without you once saying broken, without you once saying heart, all your usual wandering, all the cups and spoons and dogs and beds, all the things which once wriggled under your winking eye, now sitting heavy in your verse, steeped, you, quiet and alone in your kitchen, cigaretteless, me, left tapping on your rain-streaked window, wanting you to know that everything is going to get better, and really hoping it does. Poem is again by Kristen O'Keefe Afterwards. This is for the people who keep asking me why I'm still in slam. Because the microphone slouches like a bad boy whose neck I want to choke. Because sometimes the poem punches its way off my tongue, and other times it needs to be dragged out of my ribcage by its hair. Because I have said things in front of a room full of strangers that I would never say to my own mother, and for good reason. Because I have heard poets say things in front of a room full of strangers that made me pulse, made me sweat, made me want to push further, risk everything, be that beautiful. Because sometimes I have felt that beautiful. Because sometimes I have felt ugly too, and it was okay. Because I still have stories to tell. Because I have had my heart broken. Because I have had my heart broken and survived. Because I have had my heart broken, survived, and someone told me the poem I wrote about it sucked. Because I have survived that too. Because of the bear hugs. Because of the uh-hums. Because of the venomous looks people give to the guy whose cell phone starts ringing. Hey asshole, can't you see we are listening to poetry here? Because people are listening to poetry here. Because there is poetry here. Every cracked voice, every stutter, every stumble is poetry. Every shaky piece of paper held by shaky hands. Every nervous laugh, every awkward pause, poetry. Every braided head, every untied shoelace, every spilled beer, every, yo, this is the first time I'm doing this. Every, man, it's been a minute, it feels good to be back. Every time the poet says, this is some new shit, and people in the audience lean forward like a dare, like they are looking for a light, and the poet's flint be sparking. Because some nights I didn't feel like it, and it seemed like those were the nights I needed it the most. Because I've won, and it didn't make me more of a poet. Because I've lost, and it didn't make me less of a poet. Because I've cheered until my throat ran raw, laughed and cried and fell on the damn floor like a fool for poetry. Because I am a fool for the poetry. Because of the poetry. Because this, all of this, is poetry. I love Kristen's poems. All right, another Kristen O'Keefe Afterwards poem. This is poetry reading, Inauguration Night, New York City. There was a guy in the open mic who said, I don't have any poems about black presidents. I'm sorry, I know it's important, but I just don't have any. And I wanted to say, I know what you mean. I only have one such poem, which isn't bad until you take into consideration that I have 2 poems about drafts which have been trained to rape. Then the percentages aren't so flattering. In my defense, these drafts actually existed in ancient Rome. Where else? And they were used to punish political criminals. And the idea of them is so jarringly bizarre that they have worked their way into 2, well, now I suppose 3 poems. But our new minted president, only one. What does that say about me? The girl who balled empty fists into her chest and wept when they announced his victory. 11 p.m. in New York City, and I was so sure it wasn't going to happen, I stayed at home. I couldn't believe such a good thing could happen to such a profoundly flawed country. What kind of poet has such a limited imagination? What kind of poet can accept the concept of drafts trained to rape, but cannot accept that we might have a leader who flashes his intellect like an ID, standard, there. A leader who, as my dad, A man who voted for Bush twice, nodding at his laptop, watching his speeches 5, 10, 15 times, annoying my mother, a McCain holdout till the end, a leader who brought back patriotism from bumper stickers and irony, who made my heart glitter, makes my spine straighter, makes me flex my hope muscle, unbreak my faith bone. This afternoon, everyone is my off. I'm sorry, there must be a typo. This afternoon, everyone in my office stood around a radio in the conference room just to listen. I stayed at my desk, feeling like hearing them speak in front of my HR person and the elitist accounting guy who made me feel oddly naked. I joined the parade of people who flinch daily, worrying about an assassin's bullets. I joined the party of awe and gratitude. I joined the tender line of poets still strutting at the news, still in disbelief, still rubbing eyes, still clinging to doubt and shock like we might need them, like they are weapons we should still keep in our tool belts. But this poem is a shedding, is an opening, is a gambit, is a stripping, is a doorway, is a keyhole, is a push. This poem is a poem in which I admit today is a new day, that I am beginning to believe in our blushing, hard-won future. A poem where I say thank you. A poem where I say thank you. A poem where I say thank you to whoever is responsible. A poem where I say thank you to whoever will listen. This is another Kristen poem. It's called Drunk Boyfriend at the Poetry Reading. Fidgeting at the bar, he groans, "This is more boring than church, and I'm allowed to drink margaritas here." At the same time, the poet on stage tells us that his hands aren't hands, that his hands are in fact the echoes of a child's silent tears. Furthermore, the poet on stage tells us his tongue isn't a tongue, it's a road even the Aztec warriors aren't afraid to tread. Meanwhile, my drunk partner at the bar tells me his balls aren't balls, but are actually bear's feet, surgically attached to his dick to look like balls, and oh yeah, his dick is a highway, and people want to ride it all night long. I give the bartender a sign meaning, cut him off, while he gives a sign meaning, 2 more shots. Guess who wins? At home, I make him eat a sandwich and drink 2 tall tumblers of water while I try to get something done. "I think we are so great," he says. "I'm serious." I know. I answer, hey, he whispers. "I'm sorry I didn't have a better time at the reading." "That's okay," I say. "Maybe next time." Hey, he whispers. "What did I say my balls were again?" "Bear paws," I reply. "Oh man, that's priceless. It's funny because it's true. Write that down. Stop what you're doing and write that down. It's gold. And if you don't use it in a poem, let me know, because if you don't, I will."
Who is that with?
Donation.
Who is it by?
Yeah.
Kristen O'Keefe Aftowitz. Kristen O'Keefe Aftowitz. Oh, if you are here and you want to make any donations to the Poetry Slam team that will be representing Cleveland and Boston, Massachusetts in 9 days, we will be happy to take them because Boston is expensive. Here's another poem by Kristen about boyfriends, and it is called "In Lieu of Her Boyfriend Writing Any New Poetry, the author critiques the 4-line song she heard him spontaneously create while drunkenly walking up their apartment building's stairwell." That's not the poem, that's just the title. Line 1. "Sandwich, I'm going to eat you." The poem grabs me from the first line. Sandwich, I'm going to eat you. It's direct and animalistic. Most people would assume that if they were a panda-shaped drunk guy buying a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich at 4 in the morning, the intention would be to eat the sandwich. But the way you sing out the line, "Sandwich, I'm going to eat you," there is an implied menace. An alternate reality wherein the sandwich is purchased not to be eaten, but for what? It's a question you pose, but don't answer. I am not a sandwich, and yet I feel the terror and excitement as if I were a sandwich. You are speaking to me. You are speaking directly to me, and you are going to eat me. Line 2. Sandwich. Who's going to eat you? Me. Now, where most poets would have moved on to another thought entirely, you intriguingly have offered us another perspective of your original thesis line. You continue the direct confrontation, but now at an inquiry. Sandwich, who's going to eat you? As if you are testing us. You are saying, were you paying attention? There is also another layer added to the implied threat. Anybody could eat us. And yet, you quickly offer the unyielding answer with your me. You tease us. Put us out there on a limb. You also imply how quickly we could be passed over for another snack food, handicap hot fries, for instance, or a larger bag of bright red pistachios, the remnants of both having been found on the poet's prone and snoring body after a night on the town. But with this line, you confirm it again. It is you who will eat us, the sandwich. Line 3. Sandwich, I'm going to eat you. The second repetition of the first line, sandwich, I'm going to eat you, seems to underscore what is now plainly obvious. You are going to be eating this sandwich. Repeating this exact line a second time, though, serves two purposes. One, it adds a layer of gravitas to the line. It only tells us that this is surely going to happen, but also that it is inevitable. There is a certain sadness to the line. No one is in control. We are mere puppets of fate, drunkard and greasy breakfast sandwich, and there is nothing that can stop the commingling. And 2, the line also serves as a smokescreen. It repeats something we know, perhaps to hide something we don't know, like saying, what the hell you were drinking all night to get this out of your slurring state of glassy-eyed, pie-eyedness. Surely it was more than just the 4 beers you told me you had drunk. And by told me, I mean promised me you would limit yourself to. Line 4. Sandwich. Fuck yeah, sandwiches are awesome. The final line, and what a line it is. Sandwich, fuck yeah, sandwiches are awesome. It takes the poem into such new territory. First of all, the use of profanity. I feel like it is absolutely necessary considering the intended audience of the piece. Both the sandwich and our neighbors who were probably sound asleep, it being 4 in the morning and all, it is important that profanity is used to show both the depth of feeling and the lack of sobriety. Secondly, you begin to see yourself out of the situation. You are no longer fixated on the present sandwich, but of all sandwiches throughout history. You hold one sandwich in your hand, and with this one sandwich, you are able to experience all the sandwiches which have come before it, and all the sandwiches that are still yet to be. What else can a moral man do but belt out a fuck yeah, and come to a conversational and insightful concluding statement? A celebration, really, that sandwiches are awesome. In conclusion, when I consider this poem, I have strong feelings of envy and awe. Oh, to be this sandwich, this sloppy egg and cheese sandwich, its glistening coin of hot sausage, its pale, reliable belly bun. What a sandwich it must have been for you to have spontaneously created a poem song in its honor. You know, instead of me, your girlfriend of 8.5 years, it makes me hunger to be covered in melted American cheese, to be shoved into wax paper and offered up to the poetry gods in a leaking white paper bag. My only critique for this poem is that I wish it was longer, and maybe not about a sandwich, and also written down, and not just sung out loudly to an empty stairwell, but these are all very minor compared to the song poem, the song poem prayer, the song poem gospel that you share with our entire apartment building this morning, which needs to be repeated one more time for all the ages to hear. Sandwich, I'm going to eat you. Sandwich, who's going to eat you? Me. Sandwich, I'm going to eat you. Sandwich, fuck yeah. sandwiches are awesome. Hey. Are people reading more poems?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. I'm gonna read a poem about presidents as soon as I find it. Oh, okay, this poem is about President Taft by Kristen O'Keefe Afterwards. It is titled Taft and can be found in Everything is Everything. Everybody remembers Taft as our fattest president. Teachers telling us the story how Taft got stuck in his own bathtub, how it took 4 grown men to dislodge him. We gape at the comedy of it. Taft holding out his fat arms for pulling. 1, 2, 3, and nothing. The 3 men wiping their sweaty brows. We need another man. Poor, naked Taft, President of the United States and stuck in his cold marble tub, mustache wet with exasperation. How long did he sit there, cold and silent, realizing he needed help? Freed. How long did he stand there? Did he stand naked in front of those men to thank them, or did he just dash off, modest towel fluttering behind him like the white flag? Don't think he didn't know. His college nickname was Big Love. He once sent a telegram to the Secretary of War which read, "Went on a horse ride, feeling good," to which the secretary responded, "How's the horse?" Even during his presidential campaign, his opponent gave out buttons that read, "Nobody likes a fat boy." He was 6 foot, 340 pounds. He knew, but Taft could give a fuck. He was ballsy enough to build the White House a new bathtub, a huge bathtub, big enough for 6 men or 1 president, ballsy enough to let Mooly Wooly the cow graze brazenly on the White House lawn just so that he could gulp all the fresh milk he wanted, ballsy enough that when a New York State senator named Chauncey Depew put his skinny hands on Taft's wide belly and asked, "What are you going to call it when it comes out, Mr. President?" Taft replied, "Well, if it's a boy, I'll call it William. If it's a girl, I'll call it Theodora. But if it turns out to be just wind, I'll call it Chauncey." That's a fart joke. Anyone get the fart joke?
I did.
Alright. Are you gonna go, Kira?
Can I? Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Alright, that's Kristen O'Keefe Afterwards poems. Hooray!
Hi, Carla. I didn't see you. Well, this is genius, this sitting down thing. It really is.
Hey, my name's Kara. I'm gonna read a couple of mine and then a couple of others. So the first one I'm gonna read is called AP History Notes, and the ghost line is by Abigail Carney, whom I love with all of my heart. I love you, Abigail. And in one of her poems, she said, "All I do in church is draw." So I wrote a poem. All I do in class is write poetry. Like, her face is a cheap rendition of Mona Lisa's smile. Let's make similes together. Like or as we are pirates, sailing on the Pacific, looting gold in the form of satisfaction, roll our fears like blunts and lounge on cloud 6.9, baby. I love you. But this poem ain't about you. It's about the torsos, twisting around each other in Baltimore nightclubs, about the 3 a.m. booty calls and praise dances in church. Let's rhyme. Mother Nature wanted to forgive us, but couldn't convince Father Time. He's a L7 square on the real. But his tic-tacs are what gives us the courage enough to slam, enough to move on out of our sorrows and twist our necks towards the sunlight. Nobody knows. Nobody cares to know. So you gotta be hip enough for the both of us. Whether you're a nun or a Nazi, I beg of you, shake your groove thing. Wave your right brain like a flag in the wind. And though your abstracts will be shunned and they'll give you no room to stretch your pregnant limbs, you gotta find your silver lining and ride it like a tidal wave by any means necessary. Alright, so that was AP History Notes, and I wrote that during my AP History class because I don't pay attention much in school. And this one, I'm about to read once I find it. It's called Types of People. No, it's called The Ones. There are two types of people in this world: the poets and the poetry. The ones who visit porn sites and type love in the search bar. The ones searching for intangible things. The ones who have touched those things and are never the same. The so-called crazies who know they are sane. Do handstands on sandless beaches looking for God in the way your legs dangle. The ones who cry when they write. The ones who cling to what's right but don't know how wrong they are. The ones who still cling to these things after learning how wrong they are. They are the ones who set children on fire, mistaking them for their Bibles. For some of us, there is no giving up. Once you find that the drumbeat of your heart is tribal, jump headfirst into an abyss and do not look back. There is nothing there for you, for people like you. There are two types of people in this world. Stand at her bedside for hours and watch the way life is fair. We all die in the end. The ones who flew planes into twin towers. The ones who took a gun and put in its mouth a flower. That's the one. Oh, I want to read this. Alright, so I might mess up because it's all scribbled. But I went to DC for a poetry contest called Poetry Out Loud. And right before the competition, everybody was hanging out. And instead I went to a park and I sat there for a couple of hours and I went there with the intentions of finding something beautiful to write about. And I did, just sitting there. It's a really cool park in DC. So I didn't title it. Alright. And this is all stuff that I saw while sitting in the park. 3 birds dive in synchronicity, dipping beneath the collarbone of a boy the color of vanilla. The sun bounces off my page and onto the elbows of a man, barefooted and playing the banjo, with a cigarette gently hanging from the corner of his mouth. His fresh tune dances over to the ears of a smiling baby girl whose belly sticks out like a sore thumb. As she wobbles over to her mother, who is waiting to receive her with open arms, as her father lays belly down on the ground, trying to capture it all with his camera phone. Everyone is smiling here. From the old immigrant with eyes like chocolate mountains before a mudslide, to the old woman who never smiles quite at all. And though we never admit it, we all secretly want to jump into the fountain over there. But instead, we settle for taking frozen pictures in front of it, out of fear that our remixed zoot suits will get wet beyond repair and our dripping limbs won't be accepted by the people back home. So we sit on the outskirts of freedom, taking pictures, playing banjos, writing poetry. And as the cloud eats the sun, we cock our heads back towards the sky and wait for our friend to return. That's it. Alright. So, for other people's poems that I'm gonna read. This one is by one of my favorite poets, Evan Boland. She's an Irish immigrant who moved here, and she ended up moving back to Ireland after her mom passed away. And this poem is called Love, and I really do like this poem a lot. When I first read it, I was sitting in a bookstore with her book, and I just started crying. I be crying sometimes over poetry, but I like this one. It's called Love by Evan Boland. Dark falls on this Midwestern town where we once lived when myths collided. Dust has hidden the bridge in the river, which slides and deepens to become the water that the hero crossed on his way to hell. Not far from here is our old apartment. We had a kitchen and an Amish table. Boy, did we have a view. And we discovered there that love had the feather and muscle of wings and had come to live with us, a brother of fire and air. We had 2 infant children, one of whom was touched by death in this town and spared. And when the hero was hailed by his comrades in hell, their mouths opened and their voices failed. And there is no knowing what they would have asked about a life they had shared and lost. I am your wife. It was years ago. Our child was healed. We love each other still. Across our day-to-day and ordinary distances, we speak plainly. We hear each other clearly. And yet, I want to return to you. On the bridge of the Iowa River as you were, with snow on the shoulders of your coat and a car passing with the headlights on. I see you as a hero in a text. The image blazing and the edges glided. And I long to cry out the epic question, my dear companion, will we ever live so intensely again? Will love come to us again and be so formidable at rest it offers us ascension even to look at him? But the words are shadows, and you cannot hear me. You walk away, and I cannot follow. So yeah, that was Love by Evan Boland. So this one's by Tupac, and I love Tupac. Tupac Shakur. And I hate A.B. Rhyme Scheme, but when it comes to Tupac and Dr. Seuss, I can stand it. You know, you can't hate on Tupac and Dr. Seuss. Oh, I should have Dr. Seuss. So this one is called And Tomorrow by Tupac Shakur. Today is filled with anger, filled with hidden hate, scared of being an outcast, afraid of common fate. Today is built on tragedies which no one wants to face, nightmares to humanity, and morally disgraced humans. Tonight is filled with rage, violence in the air. I know not what I search for, but I know I have yet to find it. because it is inevitable to the eye, because it is invisible to the eye, my heart must search for it blinded. And if by chance I find it, will I know my mission is achieved? Can one come to conclusions before the question is conceived? Just as no one knows what lies beyond the shore, I will never find the answer to what it is I search for. That was too far. So, I'm finished. Not really though. I want to find a Dr. Seuss poem. Alright, so instead of reading Dr. Seuss's poems, I'm just going to read a bunch of his quotes in a long line, because they all can be put together and be poems. And I feel like he has a lot of wisdom to share. Like, I could be having a terrible day and talk to all of my friends and not feel better, and then read a Dr. Seuss quote and be like, oh, of course. Of course there's a reason to smile. So here's a bunch of his quotes. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. You know you're in love when you can't fall asleep because reality is finally better than your dreams. I like nonsense. It wakes up the brain cells. Fantasy is a necessary ingredient in living. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you have to steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the one who will decide where you'll go. Sometimes the questions are complicated and the answers are simple. Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is more yours than you. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more you learn, the more places you'll go. A person's a person, no matter how small. We are all a little weird, and life's a little weird, and when we find someone whose weirdness is compatible with ours, we'll join up with them and fall in mutual weirdness, and they call that love. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Being crazy isn't enough. Fantasy is a necessary ingredient in living. It's a way of looking at life through the wrong end of a telescope. I have heard there are troubles of more than one kind. Some come from ahead and some come from behind, but I bought a big bat. I'm all ready, you see. Now my troubles are gonna have trouble with me. From there to here, from here to there, funny things are everywhere. In my world, everyone's a phony. If things start happening, don't worry. Just do. Just do right along, and you'll start happening too. Think left and think right and think low and think high. Oh, the things you can think up if you only try. I meant what I said and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. How did it get so late so soon? You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so go. Get on your way. When beetles fight these battles in a bottle with their paddles, and the bottle's on a poodle, and the poodle's eating noodles, they call this a muddle puddle, tweedle, poodle, beetle, noodle, bottle, paddle, battle. I love that. But this is one of my favorites, and it's good to end with this one. All alone, whether you like it or not, alone is something you'll be quite a lot. So be sure when you step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98 3/4% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains if you keep trying. So that's it. That's Dr. Seuss.
We have Craig Ferson coming on in about an hour on Skype for 15 minutes. Right now, I'm going to read a poem that I wrote to Keisha Nicole Foster. Alrighty. If you guys know who Keisha Nicole Foster is, if you know anything about her story, you'll completely get this. This is a National Poetry Month number 3. Let's skip the long introduction and talk about her smile. It reminded of work and ladders, climbing to pick stars like fruit from God's space dreads. Her smile looked like she chewed on the twinkle of God's right eye. If she took the left one, we would have nothing to revolve around. Her smile, white, like crack lines she knew better than her own stretch marks, cracks in skin they were. Separating the light of those stars she crunched on, it was hard work growing tall. Crack rocks shine with the same light as dying stars. These images are too beautiful to describe her authenticity genuinely. Her smile does not light up a room. It lights the path to righteousness, holds Calvary and crosses in her gums, crucifix on canines, alpha and omega enamel, sinful plaque, Keisha. Your smile is much brighter than those stars you used to crunch on. God knew that when he placed them there. Bucolic Elysian braces, transcendental dentistry. Please smile more than often. There are souls to be saved. I don't like sharing really heavy poems in certain rooms because it's really hard to give of yourself. As poets, we give a lot, often. Often we give too much, I believe, even though there should be no such thing as too much, but there is. We give a lot to people who aren't necessarily there, attentive, listening, or who want all of what we're giving.
So it's difficult being a poet, especially in this day and age, and not being recognized and known for who you are and what you do, and just wanting to go to, say, a little coffee shop downtown and have people listen to you and know that they aren't. Even if you were Amiri Baraka, sitting cross-legged and barefoot, spewing the truth about every moment of your life to yourself that you never told me, but I know it anyway, because I'm that kind of old wise. If I was Beyonce, there would be no room to breathe in this place. They would have taken over the espresso machine. There would be tweens dangling off the light fixtures. There would be nothing but short skirts, high heels, and the smell of virgins not wanting to be virgins anymore because Beyonce is no longer a virgin. This would not be a coffee house, but a prostitution ring. No one does. They don't. Anyway, for all the people who like poetry and like Cleveland teams that are good, there is a team of us. We are going to the National Poetry Slam, which is basically the Poetry Olympics. It's expensive, so we are here for 24 hours. I have been here for 22 hours doing poetry, eating, drinking coffee, and doing poetry, and we are taking donations because it costs almost $2,000 to send a team to a National Poetry Slam. Not right now. But the lovely young woman sitting on the couch had our donation vase. We are taking donations, people. Costs almost $2,000 to send a team of poor poets. Oddly enough, you can't get funding to send poets to a competition. Isn't that weird? Especially if they work really hard. You can't get grants for that kind of thing, and you would think you could in America. Well, anyway, in America. I'll do a poem for you guys if you drop me a couple coins, or I won't do a poem. Right. I'll do a poem. I'll do a sweet poem. I did 5 light tone poems today. I have those. Give me my book. Give me my book. I'll do the whole trilogy. That's not the book. It's only one other book. Yeah. All right. I wrote some poems to some friends. I'm going to them now. I wrote about urinals, oh urinals, happy, happy urinals. Urinals that are content with their manhood. I wrote a poem. Like to hear it? Here it go. Please donate. All right. Y'all didn't donate. Kara is an answered prayer. She spun Egyptian gods into ink and placed them on paper. That's a play on the Horus, the sun god. You should look into it.
Stop every time something means something. Tell me what it means.
Okay, we can do that because no one here is giving donations. Okay. I do. I've only been here for 22 hours. I've only been up for 21 hours. Please drop a donation in. I'll sing for you. Thank you. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary. Okay. Kara is an answered prayer. She spun Egyptian gods into ink and placed them on paper, knowing that this is an everyday task. She humbled like that. I have witnessed her wash, dry, and carefully fold souls of thunderstorms that couldn't see their own eyes. When a ballerina wears her parents like a straitjacket, know that this is no accident. She will smile at you on tiptoes, walk over your insecurities, and brush them off your back like the dead flies they are. Laughter will burst out of your esophagus and flutter confetti-like in a discontent wind. A greedy sun will fight the sky, shove clouds, and knock the earth backwards to play with her shadow skin. The light will attempt to balance beam her eyesight, and she will give it the kind of car crash honesty that sound is too slow for. I do not have enough hearts to love her whole. Pixies will braid her hair at this time. She will kiss them the same way she kisses friends. They are. She will kiss friends as if they were lovers. They are. She will kiss lovers the same way she kisses gods that don't know how perfect they are. She kisses gods and speaks with that mouth. Two. On the instance of leg locking a precious gem, don't cast your desert rose before unclean scavengers. The vultures will pick at you. Hyenas laugh at flowers. Shrimp are too small to understand the significance. The swine, Kara. The swine will dress themselves in the skin of men. They will oink English and pass it off as a first language. They lie in prayer professionally. They hide their hooves in delicate folds of their mother's bones and call them tennis shoes. This is a low-key Norse god trick. Mythological things have informed them that there are diamonds inside of you. They are coal miners who don't comprehend that precious things are made from clay. Defeat the Eve in you. Defeat the Eve. And the third. When girls like you forget that words like pretty were made to describe them, a rainforest will reclaim its legs and relinquish all of the cancer cells, cancer cures from its inner thighs. That is no symbolism. This tree will come stump your fucking insecurities with the machetes in my tongue. You and I are too big for razors. Whenever you utter, "Am I pretty?" know that it is only when Satan has you in a headlock and hell is tickling your vocal cords. You don't mean that shit. When girls like you are given the word pretty to describe them, tell the gifter that it's not good enough. It is too simple. It is too plain. The word pretty isn't pretty. Tell them to Tower of Babel themselves to heaven and stay there until they learn what beautiful is. They will bring it back to you in bundles, in armfuls. Tell them you don't need it. You wear it on your face every day. When girls like you forget that they are beautiful, beauty has forgotten its own name. All right, I'm going to explain the poem now. Explaining the poem. Ew. Kara is an answered prayer. I'm not explaining that part. She spun Egyptian gods onto ink and placed them on paper, knowing that this is an everyday task. Egyptian gods, hieroglyphs, more specifically Horus. Horus is the horizon, the sun, where the sun rises and sets. Place the day, place the events of the day, places what happens in her days on paper, knowing that it's an everyday task to write about life. It's really simple when you think about it. She's humble like that. I have witnessed her wash, dry, and carefully fold souls of thunderstorms that couldn't see their own eyes. She talks to people her own age, and they're going through the storm and stress of life that is described in adolescent psychology. They're thunderstorms, thunderous, loud, raucous, all over the place. And they can't see their own eyes. The eye of the storm is the calm part. they see themselves as all of this storm and that it will never end. So, right there. It's right behind you. Thanks. I'll do whatever you want. You want me to sing? I will strip for that tip. Thank you. And that's not even my, like, slam poems. Yeah. Well, have fun. Chicago's pretty cool. Ooh. Cool, thanks. When you stop in Chicago, find a poet named Laura Yes Yes and listen to her. She's amazing. Her book is on that table. But she's amazing. Find her. Thank you. We need it. We need it. When a ballerina wears her parents like a straitjacket, know that this is no accident. When Kara described herself as a ballerina in a straitjacket in a poem, the straitjacket is her parents are the insecurities, the inadequacies of parents that she wears because that is what children are given from their parents. She will smile at you on tiptoes. Ballerinas have point work, and she will smile at you while balancing in a very difficult position, even when she's having a bad day. Walk over your insecurities and brush them off your back like the dead flies they are. If you don't understand that, well, you're stupid. Laughter will burst out of your esophagus and flutter confetti-like in a discontent wind. The wind that is discontent, the wind part of the day, the backdrop, the scenery. The day is not happy, but you're laughing, and your laughs flutter out on a day that's not happy, but you are. A greedy sun will fight the sky, shove clouds, and knock the earth backwards to play with her shadow skin. That's really being a little bit more magic realistic, saying that even the sun wants her attention, like all those people who keep calling her. It's between the hours of 7 and 9 a.m. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm never up except for this 24-hour marathon. All right, a greedy sun will fight the sky, shove clouds, and knock the earth backwards. That means the sun will do everything just to shine on you. The light will attempt to balance beam her eyesight, meaning that we cannot see without light, and the light will... It's almost as if it threatens. It's kind of like a play on her father, who kind of controls a lot of aspects of her life because she's a child, according to the law. And it will balance beam her eyesight, and she will give the kind of car crash honesty that sound is too slow for, meaning that it's not something you speak. The sound, what you say, is too slow. You say more with what you don't say. With your... Then you're... I'm upset at you. Because you said all of that, and why? I do not have enough hearts to love her whole. Pixies will braid her hair at this time. That's actually just pixies braiding your hair. Like fairies. There's no symbolism there, I'm sorry. She will kiss them the same way she kisses friends. These imaginary things. I at least had imaginary friends when I was lonely. She would kiss friends as if they were lovers because she loves her friends so hard. She will kiss lovers the same way she kisses gods because lovers are not something that comes around often, and when they do, she loves them wholly, loves them more than I've seen anybody else love, but I haven't seen her love a lover, but I imagine this is how she loved lovers. Yeah. All right, I'm tired of explaining this. You seem bored. I'm paying attention. Talk about me more. Talk about me. Save me. All right, the second part is just about keeping your virginity. Keeping your virginities. Vultures will pick at you. There are people who, that's just the disgusting men. I'm explaining my poem that I wrote about Kara. Don't On the instance of leg locking a precious gem, your virginity, your hymen. Don't cast your desert rose, your virginity, before unclean scavengers, boys. The vultures will pick at you, nasty boys who will have sex with you and leave, and who are trying to have sex with you and leave because you are a virgin, and they are virgin slayers. Hyenas laugh at flowers, the goofy boys who don't understand it. Shrimp are too small to understand the significance. The boys that aren't big enough to understand or handle you. The boys that don't see you because their eyes are too small. The swine care. The swine will dress themselves in the skin of men. The pigs are the ones you have to look out for because they seem the most normal, like the normal boys. They will oink English as a first language. They lie in prayer professionally. They lie. They don't speak like you. They shove their hooves in tennis shoes. They are tricking you. Mythological things have informed them that there are diamonds inside of you. That's actually a play off of the Holy Ghost on your eyelashes that told the devil to watch out for the third eye. That bitch. Yeah, that's what that is. Nope. They have informed them that there are diamonds inside of you. They are coal miners. Coal miners, diamonds. Diamonds come from coal, but you're not coal. Precious things are made from clay. We're clay, like Adam and Eve, clay. That's what that means. It's really simple if you think about it. It ain't simple if you think about it. It's not. Why am I lying? Because it's simple to me because I wrote it. I'm like, it's simple. Maybe it's just too much symbolism. Is it too much symbolism? Yeah, some of it is not actually simple. Some of it's just like, yes, there are little fairies that braid her hair. Because she has them little twisting things. I know you do, by yourself. No, it's pixies. Sure. There are pixies flying around you, and they braid your hair at night. It's scary. I'm going to read you a poem that I wrote to Dwayne about wanting to have sex with him. You, the soft spiral of God that rests in your breath, has made its way to your hair. You let tornadoes comb it. I have felt the wind in your locks while my tongue traced the soft curve of your lips, the electricity between our wet and wanting tongues, Zeus and Thor on the tips. We kiss like the world is ending. Our hips buck and switch. Our breath is the first breeze of summer. The heat of our passion melts the glaciers that I have forced myself to Superman my heart into. The way your legs hold my waist when our pelvises spark fires feels like Romeo's last embrace to Juliet, like we never want to let go. We create infinity together. I try to taste your voice through your neck. I hold your back like a prayer. I tell God, thank you for giving me this flesh and bone and imperfection wrapped gift. You forced my cheeks to play tug of war with my lips and show my teeth in smiles my muscle memory has attached to your face. The heat we create, baby. The heat has me melting. A candle lit by the 4th of July. Your mouth, with all its electricity, contains a bomb. Your tongue and all of its dripping explosions on my skin. You explode my nervous system. Toes curl. The dick throbs. My chest pulse hard and quick, a cheetah making love slowly for the first time. You are the first time. I kiss you like the top of a roller coaster with no safety bars. We fall into each other so free. The way your ass fits in the middle of my hand tells me you were meant to be mine one day. But it is the way you look at me. The way you look at me, I can hear your heartbeat. I can taste your skin on my palate. I can hear the escaping breaths. I can feel my heart attempting to beat again, attempting to listen when we transcend the lovemaking. When our spirits enter each other, like that night we learned we could become one with our pants on, I can feel my heart remembering how it feels to give life to a body in love. But I wasn't in love. I wasn't in love. That was a lie. That's sad. No, I really wasn't. Yeah, like, psych, wasn't in love with you. I'm saying this on camera, but Devin is the cuter twin.
Yes, Devin is fine. Oh my goodness.
I saw a clear picture of him and I said, oh, I can see where you get your insecurities. Maybe that's a mean thing to say to somebody that I used to care about. I posted it where you could see it. I guess that's a little petty of me. Oh, I know my poems about you. Blair is the Blair of bad news. Blair is a flaming ice cube. hmm No, take it as a literary device. You're a contradiction. She's a brain wrapped in sex clothes. I tried to taste your throat, your voice through your neck. Yup. Andrew likes this poem. I wrote this about Dwayne Kamal Horton. Yeah, I just outed you. To the love I cannot love but will. And this is recording. I am sorry for the stone I brought you from the red lake of myself. I'm sorry that I mistook it for my heart. I'm afraid that it has hidden itself among the rocks in my streams, that it may have learned how to be rock and forgotten how to work, to pump and pulse and rock gently when love touched. I suppose this means I bleed gravel now, that I may not even be human anymore, but pre-human, Eden clay, a before in a world of afters. I will still hold you in the nights you do not fill your mouth with my name. I will still stroke your hair when the world knocks to thunderclap and Greek God on you. This body will still be your bed. This skin will still absorb your wet nightmares. My eye sockets are still the picture frames with your portrait inside, hanging obediently above the bed frame ribs. My ears will still tell you how correct you are at being human. They will say this with their silence, love. My nose will still tie the bow of your scent to my memory. The sweat will dry, the breath draw deeper. My love will boil. I will sniff out the God in you and bring him flowers to remind him of his creativity, how he creates such beautiful and gentle things with so much quiet color and quiet life. I will pluck the debris from you when my hands return my messages I miss feeling. Please squeeze life back into this rock. Show the tornado and thunder of my temper how to hold its tongue. Show me how it looks in the middle. Look it in the eye. Tell it all of the beautiful zephyrs it possesses. Lie if you have to, but lie honestly. Push if you have to, but push without force. Quit if you have to, but quit with effort, with all that you have. Leave bare and cold and gray and loud and colorless. Don't skip rocks. No one's on the other side to catch them. Blah, 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 blue, blue. What about it? I don't remember. Somebody was telling me I didn't understand that. Wasn't it you? Oh, don't skip rock. I mean, it's pretty clear. Rock's heart, my heart. Skip it across. If no one's on the other side to get it, 'cause it's gonna fall in and forget that, and redo the whole thing. The reason that it became rock in the first place was because of the bad loves who skipped it. It fell and lived among the rocks, thought that it was a rock, became rock. It's not rock. Make it unrock. If you skip it across the pond and it falls in, it's going to re-become rock. So don't do that if I'm not on the other side to catch it before and put it back in my chest so that it doesn't become rock again. It's simple. That's what it means. Yes. Oh my God. Too much symbolism. I mean, the fact that I understand it makes me feel like it's simple enough for somebody to understand it. And that person who understands it, I will have sex with.
Your soulmate? Life don't work like that, Kiki.
I'm not saying that they exist. I'm saying if they do exist, I'm going to have sex with them. I didn't say I'm going to have children with them. I read some light poems earlier today. Pinch my nipples. That's in a poem. I'll read it. It's called Ass Slappers.
Please don't read that.
Nathan, I'm reading Ass Slappers. I want somebody to slap my ass. Slap my ass! You can hear me, Nathan. I'm sorry to the man in the green shirt because Nathan's being a butthole. He's so into that book, he's not listening. I love it. Read! There's a man in a coffee house. I've only seen him wearing a green shirt. There is a barista in the coffee house. I find it hard to trust him because he does not have a mustache. He has wild, shaggy hair. He reminds me somewhat of a young Bob Dylan, back when Bob still believed in magic and Woody Guthrie songs. His teeth are straighter than mine. His mannerisms are not. Burn, kidding. No, I was kidding. I was kidding. Nathan, can I have some water? What do you mean? We were up the whole night. We were up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even take a nap until 8:20. And then that was only a nap, and Andrew was on stage the whole time. Yeah, I told people to bring pillows and quilts and stay. They didn't believe me. Yeah, because it was really nice last night. Nathan, you saw those damn people. Mostly Pros' family. But yes. All right, I'm going to read another piece. I'm waiting for, because we have a feature in about 25 minutes. So I have pieces for days. They ain't all good. Actually, I think some of my pieces are kind of not bad. Like, even my bad ones are not, like, as bad poems because I don't like to write really bad. Because if it's really bad, I'm just going to cross it all out and rewrite it until it's not bad. So they're at least not bad to me. They might, I have some pretty shitty poems. But anyway, let's play charades. I'm a thing. I'm a thing. Love cannot penetrate. A thing that is cold, unloving, like a sword, but not a sword. I am a thing. Guess. No, really, please. Try to tell me what I am because I don't know anymore. I was tricked into believing I was understanding. I am not. I do not know what I am because no one will guess. No one will play charades with me. No one will tell me, but I will. I will guess. I am bullet. No, I am razor. I am knife, sharp tooth, shark, chlamydia, a hose turned on a laughing granddaughter of a slave. Am I the slave, the whip or scar or missing foot? I am not foot. I am glass. I am sharp. I am sting. I am bee then. I am hurt. I am hurt. I am illness. I am death. I am sadness. I tape people's mouths closed with no tape. I am kidnapper of throats. I am thief. I am rapist of virgin. I'm not. Then what am I if all of the people looking at my house are covering their eyes and calling themselves blind? The people I love won't love me past myself. I am tied shoelace of Armageddon, tripping over itself and accidentally killing all of the good people. I am alive, so I must not be good people. I am in love with drinking my eyes, with what I see, my reflection. I pop like an Icarus balloon with condoms for wings. I want my father to save me still. I am finding out what I am, though. I am lost. I am mean. I don't have friends because I make people feel stupid. I am calculus sitting cross-legged on a writer's brain. I am y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. I am expectations with no eyes. I am Helen Keller without nerve endings. I am scary movies with no blood, death, or action. Just the impending thought that if you move toward me, you will not survive to the end. I am evil. I talk to Satan more than God. I hurt people with my sharp tongue and pulled trigger honesty. I refuse to protect my friends from myself. I expect the world to be smarter than me, and they aren't. Because of this, the world is smarter than me. I am bad friend. I am curse. I curse at people who wear my love to protect them. I am sad. I am man. I am still Akeem. I am scared that I don't know how to keep my relationships from crumbling. I am earthquake on a pebble. I am sorry. I don't know how to be better than what people think of me. I am tired. I am dying in a room full of dying because dying is the short name for living. I am too broken to be touched. You'll cut yourself on me. I am me. I am Akeem. I love myself, but I do not know what that is. I do not know what I am. Let's play charades. Will you please guess? Will you please guess? Guess what I am. I do not know what I am. That poem ends so weird, but I like it. It's trail off, yeah. Well, I wrote it because we argued. What? Yep.
Why do you like that formula?
I put it in a song once. We gotta learn point slope. Y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1 is the point slope. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines of negative reciprocal. We actually, right, yeah. No. That's actually Alicia Keys' Unbreakable. And I wrote math lyrics to it for a project. And got an A. Well, I will give it to her. It's a great one. Yay! Wait, how's it go? Because it was about the class. It's like we could be late like Falia. Or cause it's like one girl's always late and she got mad, but she was late to class that day. So I'm like, you was late today. I'm like, we could be late like Falia. Or bring breakfast like Tatiana. We could laugh with Sun Soraya. Or instead, make the grade like Amanda Hayes, who was like their valedictorian. Class was in the classmate for 6, so we just better represent. She was saying, earning y equals mx plus b. That's it. The slope formula, y equals mx plus b. Oh, that's the one I was trying to remember. Yeah, y equals mx plus b, the line. Yeah. Because b is the slope. I thought b was the slope. M is the slope? M is the slope. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Well, that's point slope. That's fine, the points. Yeah, oh, I get it. I remember now. I mean, all that graph shit. I didn't take a math class this last semester that I got a 3.91. 3.91 because I got an A minus in urban studies because I got a B on the final, which is crap because I only missed 5. And they were 5 really hard questions. It was multiple choice. I am. Because I don't like it. What? Yes, actually, that we did study African Americans. I don't know. It was called The Black Experience in Cleveland. We had to read 2 novels, write 4 15-page research papers, make a 10-point virtual in-class presentation with PowerPoint. I mean, It was actually not an easy class. You know, people say, oh, the black experience. No, it was a reading and writing across the curriculum. We had to read every week and answer prompt questions and specific quotes from articles we had to read in the class were on the final. Like, which one of these authors used the term? It was some sort of omniscient middle class present thing for, I don't remember the word. It was omniscient something about middle class blacks being. It's really complicated. The concept she was trying to explain to me, it was complicated. But we had to like really read carefully, and it was not an easy class, but it was not a hard class considering I got an A-. So. Yes. Hey, Vertigo, can we find what's his face? Chris first. Craig is what I meant to say. I'm sorry, Craig. I haven't slept. That's no excuse. We had to learn points though. Yeah. Blair, you remember that night we argued? You remember that night we argued way back when? It was a text argument.
Yeah, when I went to go see Gloria Steinem at Oberlin.
Yep. I did write a poem about that. I was wondering if you did too. Blair, you write a poem about everything that happens. 'Cause you write like 3 poems a day. I woke up this morning and queefed. Not every morning. Just this one. Oh, why you no write the poem? I did write a poem. I'm not reading it. Yes. Yes, it's me. You see car crash, pull triggered honesty. I just don't have a filter. That's no good. That's no good. I actually don't like it because it's poorly written. That's why I'm not reading it, not because it's me. It's not even particularly mean. Like, I read it and I was like, oh, that's, somebody said, that's such a nice way to say, or what did they say? It's like giving your friend, why you have to say that? I don't want to write a poem about that. I don't even want to remember that she's there. You were like 7. Yeah, like right there, 7 matadores. I feel like it's a little bit about her too. Yeah. I feel like it's applicable to her. Other shit?
Losing her baby and becoming a better woman.
Really? I did not get that.
Yes.
Man, I be missing shit.
Anyway, slam some gelato on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to head out of here. Yeah, I gotta work at 8.
And she leaves before 5.
So I can make some money. So my manager puts me in a good spot. What do you work? Fortress nightclub right on my corner.
In bowls, we can create perfect worlds, making mulatto gelato babies on teaspoons. No one laughs at this or tries to ban it as unnatural.
Give me my ice cream.
What do you mean? You gave it to me.
Stop. You're so rude. It's so rude.
Please enjoy this brief intermission.
No, I wanted to, but he didn't.
I was gonna.